I'm Sophia. I worked in IBM and I was based in London South Bank. IBM was a great opportunity for a number of reasons. It opened doors for me in a number of areas. I was given a great role and a lot of responsibility as a business consultant, which was great because I not only got to experience IBM as an organisation, but I also got to see what it was like being a consultant on a client site, which meant that I experienced life from a consultant's perspective, and also life in another organisation, which was also really, really valuable. I also got to travel a lot, which was great. Consultants travel a lot, and I was really put into the deep end. So I've got to benefit from that, and I guess I got a real consultant experience and a lot of responsibility, and that to me was the most valuable thing because I want to go into consulting. So it really opened my eyes to the career that I'm hoping to embark on, and the realities of the career that I'm hoping to embark on. So in my placement, I developed a lot of skills. I was able to use the theory that I'd learned in first and second year studying business and management and really apply that theory as a consultant when dealing with kind of client problems, dealing with strategy, and the projects that I worked on required a lot of business acumen that I'd acquired, but I was also able to take that acumen and actually apply it in a practical sense, which meant kind of some interpretation on my end, and I was also able to learn from the people around me. I was in a really skilled team of professional consultants who were a lot of them were quite senior, and they'd had years of experience. So that was a big positive for me. When I was on placement, I noticed a lot of the dynamics of the consultancy profession, and it emerged to me that it was a complicated profession, and also that there's a lot of things that go on. It's not just like other managerial professions, it's slightly different. It's a lot more complex. There's a lot of travelling involved, and there's the big client-customer relationship that you have to manage. And that was a big eye-opener for me because I didn't have any awareness of that, and I actually wasn't taught that in my business module. So that was very valuable, and it actually brought to light some questions in my mind with regards to the pressures that consultants face, kind of managing that client relationship. And that really helped me when I came onto my final year because it gave me some ideas for my dissertation. Because I thought, well, has academia really addressed this issue? And has academia really looked into the depths of consultancy and actually what consultants need to do to manage this relationship on a continuing basis? And it has provided a very solid foundation for my dissertation that I'm doing this year. So when I was at IBM, my role was very complex. I wasn't just a consultant, I also did a lot of internal work. So this required a lot of organisation and a very effective time management. Alongside that, I was travelling across the country quite a lot. So as you can imagine, I had to be very organised, and I had to also deliver. Amongst all of that, I had deliverables, and this was kind of pressurised by a client environment and client expectations. And I was representing IBM as well. So I really developed skills in time management and effective working, I guess. So really utilising the time that I had. For example, I would work on the train. I would be travelling for 2 hours either way from work to home, and I'd work on the train, and I would really make the most of my time. And I was able to take these skills actually into my final year, and I'm using them now. And I've learned to really utilise my time and be organised and create work schedules and set personal deadlines for myself in terms of the work that I'm going to deliver. And it's really helped me to manage the final year workload because it's very there's a lot of work in final year, and I don't know if I would be able to handle it as well, not had the placement experience that I'd had. Without a doubt, I would say definitely do a placement. It's one of the best things I've ever done, and one of the best decisions I've made with regards to my career. And I have to thank Brunel for that because it's been drilled into us from first year to do a placement. And obviously we were offered a sandwich course, and I took it. And within the lectures, it was it was made kind of very important that we did a placement and that we understood the benefits of a placement. And these benefits were carried throughout our course until the second year. When I went to inquire about a placement at the Placement and Career Centre, I was given a lot of support, and this really reaffirmed my passion to do a placement and my desire to do one, as I was reminded of the benefits it would bring me and how it would enhance my skills. So I would say without a doubt that doing a placement is a fantastic opportunity, and I think that anyone who doesn't take that opportunity is seriously disadvantaging themselves. not only enhanced my confidence, it's enhanced my skills, but it's also given me a taste and a flavour for the work life, which I didn't have before, before doing a placement. And it's really pushed me to actually complete my final year with a bit more passion and a bit more desire, and it's given me that keenness to really push through, because I know I've kind of seen the light at the end of the tunnel, which is really important, because times can get tough in final year, and it's nice to know what you're really aiming for and to have a taste of that life. So that's one of the benefits. But above all of that, I think it's a life-building experience in terms of skills, and like I said, networking, and actually building people skills is another big thing, and life skills. For example, traveling across the country, I would never have done that before, unless I had the need to, which I did in my placement. But it's really enabled me to become independent and to manage time, to be organised. So there's a lot of skills that have come from it. I also actually managed to obtain a graduate role, which was a really big advantage, and I'm very, very happy. So that was good. I kind of was able to set myself up for when I graduate. So now I'm kind of studying in my final year, knowing that I'm going to go back into IBM as a graduate, and that's given me a lot of support and a real kind of positive outlook on the next year. When I was in my second year, one of the problems that I did face when getting a placement was lack of time. And I think that's because applications can be very time consuming, and you often don't know how to approach them. Having not done any applications for jobs like this before, I found it very difficult to actually get myself into the routine of filling in applications and actually selling yourself in the right light and wording your skills in the right way in order to gain the opportunities. So this was a big problem. First of all, time, and second of all, how to actually go about filling in these applications and actually getting the interviews and the assessment centres that I needed. But the Placement and Careers Centre was really helpful in both of these aspects, and was really supportive. So, I mean, with time, I was assisted a lot with my CV and my application. This really bought me some time, but it also made it a better use of my time, as I really knew what I was doing with the support of the Placement and Careers officers, with the support of the Placement and Careers consultants. The Placement and Careers Office was really helpful in this respect, and it also helped me by showing me all the opportunities that there were available and making those available to me, in an easier way than if I was to look for them. They have a board where you can see all the vacancies online, and if you actually go and book an appointment with at the Placement and Careers Centre, you're able to get one-on-one advice from a careers consultant, which is very, very useful, and can really assist you along the way. So one of the disadvantages of my placement, and there weren't many, and I'm really struggling to find a disadvantage, but if I had to pick one, it would be the travelling. Although it was an advantage in many ways, it did take me away from my family and also changed my kind of eating habits, my living habits. You really have to change your life around. My life consisted around work, which is something that I was willing to do, because the benefits really outweighed the costs in this case, but it was a disadvantage. I, however, wouldn't really market it as that, because I feel like overall I was able to grow from the experience. So overall, even though it was a disadvantage, I think that it brought benefits and value to me. So when I was at IBM, I was able to build a really great network, and I was in a really supportive team, and there was a lot of mentoring, and people were really willing to help me. And as I was at IBM, I did notice actually, and this has now led me on to want to study this and actually want to pursue this for my dissertation topic, that women consultants struggled with the lifestyle more than male consultants because of their family lives and work-life balance. And this is really, it's really kind of interested me, and also has made me want to pursue it as a research topic. And this is really useful because I had loads of female consultants who I'd developed really good relationships with at IBM. And I was able to use those contacts, but having left IBM, to then conduct focus groups and interviews, which helped me with my research. So overall, the placement experience was really good for me, not only within that year, but actually having come into my final year with loads of ideas, loads of questions about the profession, and things that I want to discover and things that I want to find out. And that was really useful. And along with the ideas came the contacts to then facilitate the research, because I was able to build networks. And I actually went back to IBM last December, before Christmas, so December 2012, I went back and I held a focus group, and the consultants that took part in the focus group, who were my previous team, were really keen to help me, and they were really pleased that I'd taken the experience that I'd had that year and actually put it to good use and and kind of probed it a bit more. So it was very, very valuable in my final year dissertation. My tip would be to build a good network and get people on your side. And by that I mean build a good reputation, so work hard, and you want people on your side that are willing to support you when you come back, and willing to give you references, and willing to really endorse you as a student and as a potential employee. When I was at IBM, I worked really hard to gain a good reputation, which meant sometimes putting in extra hours, being aware of the people around me, and also being aware of relationships that can help me in the future, and really keeping those networks tight, and really maintaining those networks. And then I was able, when I discovered that I wanted to come back to IBM, I was able to draw on those networks to actually support me to come back. I actually got fast-tracked, passed through the graduate scheme, and that was with the help of endorsement from previous managers at IBM who had actually liked my work and were really happy to take me back on. So my advice is to really work hard and really make the most of the year in terms of building your reputation and building eminence within a company, so that when you want to come back, you have enough people to support you, endorse your application, and help you through the process, because it is tough against, when you come out of university, you're against a million other graduates who are all fighting for the same jobs. You need that thing that distinguishes you from the others, and that is often a good word about you, or a reference, or someone sending a quick email saying, I really like this person, let's bring them back in. So that's my advice. Make good relationships and really nurture those relationships to the best of your ability. So when I was in my second year, I did notice that time was a big constraint, and one of the battles that I faced was actually, how do I keep my studies on check and also still apply for jobs where the applications are very time consuming, and so are the assessment centres. I think the way I handled it was just to kind of be, like I said, use my time very effectively. And the PCC really helped with that. As I said, the time that I did have was really utilised and was made effective and efficient, and applications got done, and they got done to a good standard because I had the support around me from the PCC and from family members and everything else. So I would say time management is the key. Use whatever time you have very wisely, but make sure that you keep a good balance between your studies and your applications. Do your applications alongside your studies, but don't prioritise one over the other. I'd say try and keep it in check, because getting a placement is almost as valuable as getting a good grade in your second year. And I think you can do it if you prioritise applications and placement searches and work over things like social life. You may have to do that for a bit, but I think it's all worth it in the end. The best part about working with the PCC was the support network and the confidence that it gave me. The placement officers are a real great help, and they were really willing to help me from start till finish. So from the beginning, when I realised I wanted to do a placement, they were really helpful, and they helped me to choose what kind of placements I should be approaching and applying for. So from that stage, when I wanted to fill out applications, they were there for me in terms of helping me to put the right information in the application forms, and also to sell myself in the best light, and really use the application forms to enhance my skills. From that stage, when I was offered assessment centres, this was so invaluable. They really, really helped me with assessment centres. Now, I'd never been to an assessment centre before, so having the advice and knowledge of the placement officers was invaluable. They really helped me to understand what assessment centres were for, understand what I was actually being marked against, and thus understand how to perform and how I should be performing in the assessment centres, and what skills I should be putting forward and putting across. I really think this helped me probably the most out of everything, because my family and friends weren't able to give me this kind of advice, and this is the kind of advice that only the placement office, with their experience, were able to give me, and it definitely separated me from other candidates at the assessment centres, as I really had a really good support, and I knew what I was doing, and I knew what was expected of me. So in order to build a relationship with the PCC and actually get their help, I went and booked an appointment with one of the placement and careers officers. And I found this a lot less daunting than I thought it was going to be. So I booked an appointment with the officer, and they were so friendly and really welcoming and supportive. And it was almost like having a meeting with a friend. And they gave me a lot of support and advice. And it was really casual, and it was almost like a casual chat. It wasn't really a meeting. And this was great because it gave me some confidence, and I really felt like I could go there whenever I wanted to and book as many appointments as I wanted to. And I was really building a rapport with the consultant. I had a few consultants and they each gave me different advice, which was really good because I was able to draw from the different experiences of them all, and also take that all on board and then go and do an assessment centre or do an interview, having such a broad range of knowledge from all of the consultants, and they were more than happy to help. I had numerous interviews with them and numerous meetings with them, and they were absolutely fantastic, really, really great. Another benefit of my placement was the fact that I was able to actually build better relationships with my university. When I was at IBM, I started a placement mentoring scheme, which actually was aimed at helping students get onto placements like the IBM placement. So we took this scheme to a number of universities, and one of them was Brunel. And through bringing it to Brunel, I was able to build a really great relationship with the Placement and Careers Office and also the business school lecturers, who were all really interested in the event and were really supportive. So we held an event here that was a networking event, and I brought some members of my IBM team here, and we kind of talked to the students about the benefits of the placement, our experiences, the different roles that we were all in, and the things that we were able to do outside of our roles, which were, we had like community give back. We were able to go work across IBM and do a lot of shadowing and that kind of thing. So we were able to bring that experience to Brunel and actually talk to current Brunel students who were questioning doing a placement, weren't quite sure what IBM had to offer. So that was a great experience. I got to lead the team, and I also got to manage, a scheme, which was really great. It really improved my relationships with Brunel and actually increased my confidence coming back as a student, as I had really great relationships with the PCC and other Brunel lecturers and that kind of thing. And relationships with lecturers is of utmost importance, especially in your final year, when you need all the support you can get, with your dissertation and your work. So it was a really great benefit.